All right, we're here once again with head coach Russell Gaskamp of Ravens football. Coach, we were expecting a good Stonehill team last week, and we got a good Stonehill team last week.
Yeah, they were as advertised, and first of all, defensively, they were a very good group. Coming from the Lone Star Conference down in the Southwest, I thought that was the first defense that we've seen that I thought was that type of quality of defense. Their defensive line was outstanding. Number 44 for them played an outstanding game. We didn't block him a whole lot in the game, and I told him after the game I thought he reminded me a lot of a guy that we recruited when I was at Angelo. That was first team All-American. I think he's that type of caliber player. And so I asked him after the game if he was a junior or senior. He told me he's a junior. I said, darn, But they were really, really good in the defensive line. Our offensive line struggled with them. We struggled with protection. And, offensively, they just didn't make any mistakes. They ran the ball well. I think we went in with the right game plan of how to stop that. We just didn't execute it. And that starts with, number one, our kids doing the things we asked them to do. And number two, us make sure we're putting the right kids in those spots to make those plays. And so, we have to constantly evaluate that. But, the rushing totals in the game, I think they rushed for something like 280. We rushed for, after the sacks and everything, under 50 yards. You're not winning games in any college setting doing that. So.
We've been harping on special teams all year. From the press box, looked a little cleaner on special teams.
It was. I thought we played a cleaner game from a standpoint of penalties. I thought we played a significantly cleaner game on the special teams. We have spent more time in practice working in those certain areas. I think the kids had a little better understanding of what we're trying to get done on those this week, and it was better. I got to give a lot of credit to Lawson, Laurent. He's been working really hard on the snap and stuff, and this was by far his best game in doing that. But we had some other guys step up and do some good things on special teams, and hopefully we'll continue to improve there.
So after a game that ends in a lopsided score like that, how do you as a coaching staff balance, okay, here's some positives maybe from the special teams versus what we still need to work on?
Well, I'm focusing more on what our overall goals are for the season. You got to get immediately back on, hey, we got to be 1-0 this week. You got to teach guys, things from the tape that we have to improve on, but then you got to move forward. You sit there and dwell on that game for a long time, and that's coaching staff included. I don't know if I was the best husband in the world on Saturday. My wife said I was kind of boring to hang around. You sit around, you reflect, you see what you could do better, and then you get back to Sunday, and then you got to go forward and say, hey, we're on to a new week. We're playing a Saint Anselm team this week that number one's an in-state rival for us. And they're coming off of a big win, so I'm sure that their kids are excited about that, and you got to bounce back. So.
Yeah, so we'll turn ahead to Saint Anselm now. I guess, as you said, in-state rival, first meeting ever with them. Looking to build a rivalry in the long run there.
Yeah, let's be honest. We're both recruiting the same kids. We're going to be going against each other in that regard to try to get the best players that we possibly can, try to improve our program. Coach Adams and his staff, I think, does a good job up there of recruiting good players. And they're unique in the fact of what they do. This will be the most spread out, air raid type of offense that we're going to see defensively. They base out of a 3-3, and they bring people from all over the place. And so we're going to have to be a lot more sound in our protection this upcoming week. Our offensive line is going to have to play significantly better. Drew was on the ground way too much last week, and so. But yeah, to me, college football is about rivalries. I played at Texas, and they just had Texas OU last weekend, and how great games like that are. The LSU Florida game the other night, and hopefully, we'll be able to build up something cool here in the state with St. A's going into the future. So.
All right, you talk about their aerial offense. So what adjustments do you guys make on defense to counter a more aerial attack like that?
Well, compared to what we just played, it's a difference of night and day in what you want to do. I found over the years when especially where I'm coming from, a lot more of the teams, the Texas Techs of the world and stuff, are a lot more air raid in that area. And the biggest thing is you have to continue to give the quarterback different looks. So you can't just sit there and say, hey, I'm throwing it into the same coverage and I'm giving them the same blitz, all the time. You got to be able to change up. There's times you got to be able to drop 8, sometimes drop 9 if you have to. There's times you got to be able to go pressure them and give different looks. You just can't sit there and give them the same type of surface over and over again. It'll cause problems. So.
All right, you talked about Drew a little bit as well. Bit of a tough week for him, as we mentioned, on the ground a lot. How's he holding up?
Oh, I think he's fine. I mean, Drew's tough as nails, first of all, and he's not one of those guys that when he had a week like that, he could have been a guy that on the sidelines was not being a great teammate or yelling at guys. I mean, if I was him a couple of times, I probably would have. We didn't play very well in our protection, and not only that. I mean, protection. Obviously you say offensive line, but it includes your backs, includes receivers being in the right place, includes the quarterback throwing the ball in rhythm. We just did not do that in the game. We knew Stonehill had a really good defensive line. We knew it was going to be a struggle keeping them off, and we just proved that was right. So, what do? You go back, you try to fix some mistakes in the protection, fix some technique stuff, fix some scheme stuff we didn't do right, and get everyone to understand that it's a collective group to protect the quarterback, but we'll bounce back. So.
All right, most important thing this week.
Well, even this morning when I talked to the guys, I compared to them. We've had 3 rough weeks in a row, and what the opposing team's rushing totals have been versus ours, and a lot of that to me has had something to do with the sacks and stuff like that. But it starts there. What you cannot let an air raid type of defense or offense do is run the ball, and you want to get them to where they just don't want to run it. So we got to start there. We got to try to make them be the one-dimensional team that they want to be, and stop the run first. And then at the same time, we got to keep the ball away from them. So, how do you do that? I mean, you grind up, ground, yards on the ground. You're able to be balanced, stay in first and normal, second and normal, third and normal type of situations, rather than getting them in the long and letting them kind of turn the blitz loose and letting them do what they want to do. So, offensively, we've got to dictate the pace of the game. Defensively, we've got to stop the run and get them to be one-dimensional, which is what they want to be. So.
All right, he's head coach Russell Gaskamp. The Ravens take on Saint Anselm on Saturday. Noon start at Sodexo Field. We'll see you out there. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.